I'm involved with an organization called the Onto-Ottawa Historical Society, and our sole purpose is to keep alive the memory of the trek. The trek took place in 1935, and it left Vancouver on June 3rd from these railway tracks right below us. The situation was that in 1929 there was a stock market crash and the beginning of the Depression. And by 1935, there were thousands and thousands of people unemployed, and young men particularly ended up tramping the country on the railway cars, going back and forth looking for any bit of work that they can get. It could be picking some vegetables or fruit, it could be chopping wood for a bowl of soup, anything that they could get. Sorry, just gotta catch my breath. But what happened was, as they traveled around the country and got talking to each other, they got more and more angry and more radicalized, because they realized that the stock market crash was a creation and an inevitable creation of unfettered capitalism. And that they knew that they'd had no part in that, but yet they were the ones suffering the consequences of it. And they were seeing their future stolen from them. These were guys who were mostly aged 16 to about 25. They got put into camps by the federal government, who wanted to try and keep them away from the cities and neutralize their radicalism. And in those camps, they were paid 20 cents a day. They lived in bunks 3 high. They lived on rations of food left over from the war. And they sometimes the work was meaningful, like building the Hope Princeton Highway. Sometimes it was meaningless, just to keep them physically occupied, so that could mean moving a pile of dirt or rocks from one side of the freeway to the other and back again. Not a freeway, but you get the point. They were just kept physically occupied. And for that they earned 20 cents a day. They got organized by the Communist Party and under the Workers' Unity League, and they decided to strike and refuse to work. And their demands were work and wages and the right to vote, because they were disenfranchised from the vote as well, being under military rule. They made the decision to strike, but the government ignored them. And so they then took a decision to leave the camps and come to Vancouver. They came to Vancouver in April of 1935 and spent the next couple of months doing things like snake parades, and where they just snake through the city streets with a random parade. They did tag days where they raised money by tin canning and giving people a little tag on their collar to indicate that they'd given money. And the citizens of Vancouver, again, were very sympathetic. Everybody knew, with unemployment rates of 35%, that a number of particularly young men unemployed they were very sympathetic. They knew that they hadn't created this mess, and yet they were paying the price for it. So they had been gathering in they'd been gathering